We're on! Alright, so, welcome to Dreadnought Redux Part 9. And today, for you, I will be further assembling these ever-increasing decks. Let's see, is that one of them? That looks it. And, oh, does it, oh no, they are able to fit. Awesome. Goody goody. So there's that. And then it looks to me like maybe if I want to add more realism, because I looked at the plans and this thing actually, there's a pipe space in this third floor area here. I really wanted to improve that. What I'd try and do is lift some of the pipes upward. Might be a good idea. That does stack really good though. That does stack a lot better than you originally thought. Which is a nice thing. It's a good thing. Oh, come on, don't squish the people. There we go. Come on. Come on, there we go. And there it is. Yay! Awesome. So there's that. And that actually stacks up really good so far. It looks great. I have to take this. I have to show you this. This angle looks really good to me. I mean, I'm not sure if the camera zooms fast enough, but that just looks so awesome right there. I'm definitely gonna try. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to see what I can do to make the piping kind of blend in a bit. Because that floor is like space for pipes on the plans that I got. So yay. I know I should probably have assembled everything before gluing additional details on, but live, learn. You know the drill. Other than that, off the camera, I'm going to be plotting how to get more of this made somehow. And how to make it better. Because this is going to take some forethought. This is going to take some thinking to do. Just because of how it's how it's gone for me so far. Not that I'm saying I'm absolutely horrible at photo etch, but I still have a great deal to learn. That's one of the big reasons why I bought that notebook, which I seem to have misplaced. Oh well. Most important tool in the shop, and I go and I misplace it. Oh well. Anyways, I'll find it eventually. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start adding some more details to these deck pieces. Maybe get it to a point where I can start thinking about what's going to go on in my little hospital ward here. And yeah, other than that, that's it for the slow part of this. Other than just to make sure I include it in this video for everyone's amusement, what I'm going to call the YouTube dance. Like, share, subscribe, hooray! Okay, I think I got that out of my system. Let's get building. Alright, so as you can see, I've got these partially done up pieces so far. And I'm looking at the plans. I'll remember what I was doing when I got to, remember it, to be honest. Probably trying to sort out what pieces are what, because I know one of these floors is a bit complex. That's not quite it right there, though. That's probably something else. Ah, there we go. So now I got an idea of what I've been doing with that one. So that floor, the way that worked was some of it was actually feed water tanks and not coal bunkers or storage or things like that. So I'm painting those things that were the feed water tanks that silver color. I think Citadel currently calls that lead belcher. They used to call it bolt gun metal, but it's a dark metal color. Kind of reminiscent of old machines to me, like older steel or something. I don't know why I think old and steel with that. Maybe oil soaked. I don't know. But moving on, as you see, getting good views of my how I'm doing the painting. And as you can see there, I am mixing the paint, try to get the consistency about right where I'm comfortable, and then just painting little areas where I think I've either overdone other details or just trying to even out some of the green paint in certain areas on the base there. So getting in between some things and sorting all that fun stuff out. That's going to be a lot of this episode, is just sorting through paints and stuff. There I was looking at the that for some reason, probably to see looks like here I'm making some stuff to go into that store. Those are storage areas for the deck with the powder magazines on it. Because that lower one with the engine rooms also had the shell bins in it. So there I am. I added the those in place. I was cutting that thin bit of wood to make it appear like a set of bars, and this now I'm trying to make them appear like a set of metal bars. And another place I do later, if I remember to mention, I do it up as if it were a set of wood planks instead. Now I'm using the super glue to try to hold that in there, fit it in. Later I revert back to using the model cement. There I'm looking through the I think I was looking through the photo etch just to see if there's anything else I could add in to make it look nicer, to see would it fit if I were to add one of those photo etch bits like I do, where I had the shell bin piece and use it as a shelf like I've done on other parts of this model, but I don't think it would fit there. So, and again, just doing some painting and rearranging things, and just trying to, put glue where it should go. I think that's what I used that for, that little thin piece of plastic. And I put a thin piece of plastic, you might see it later on, as a shelf in that area. So now I'm grabbing somebody, but why? I get folding them there. I think I know where he's going. I think this, nope, that's a box. Oh, I'm putting the last remaining shell bins in place. Now I remember. So yeah, as you can see, I fold up the piece of metal. That's me there, again, trying to clean out this forked end of the glue applicator and then put things in place. And it's not like it's a bad applicator, it's just, I don't think it's working so great with my choice of glue. But you live, you learn. Maybe next time what I'll try and do is get some of those thin, like really thin needles, almost like the hypodermic syringe type applicators. I'm sure you've seen these kind. It's like they got like a little fitting and it comes off of bottles like the super glue bottle I've got, and maybe I can use it there. So now I'm folding the last of these powder boxes. I eventually put a guy in there. You'll see that in a few minutes, probably towards the end of this video. And there I go again, adding the touch of glue. Now I'm going to grab some white paint and doing the soft camera this time, and I should be painting these up. And trying to make it as nice and good as possible across everything. I may slightly flutz a detail. Yep, there we go. Slightly flutz the space between those. I think I try eventually to, put in something to act as a chromate green. And funny story about that, by the way, but that'll be more relevant later on. I may mention it at the end of this video, I don't know. Okay, so now I'm using a dark brown, and yeah, it looks like I'm doing that shelf that I did before in that storeroom, just to make it look like this. It's a more of a wood shelf. And trying to think of anything else. So that's darkening up some bits of the engines and then pipes in between things, just to get a bit more life down there and variety, I guess. Looking through, hemming and hawing. Lots of hemming and hawing in this as I go grab something else. Yep. So that's a bit of a thicker strip, and then the thinner strip I wanted. So yeah, to fill in the other storage area, what I do is I make my own little miniature boxes. Instead of with photo etch this time, I just build it out of plastic stock. This is the I think this is the 0.08 by 0.010 or 0.020 strip that I have of styrene that I've been using for the walls in this latest thing. I gotta say, this is a big improvement over how I did the walls previously, because this will actually fit under the deck versus the other ones that pushes the deck up a little bit and doesn't fit nicely. So yeah, not fun there, but that's life, that happens. So now that I've done that bit, what I do is I go ahead and I add the I put in the boxes after gluing them together and painting them with a brown color, and then It's kind of dry fitting, seeing how it looks. Putting it in there again, moving things around, seeing how that looks. Guess doing a little bit more of gluing things in just to keep them in place. And then looking over the plan to see what is going where. This is, I think, yeah, this is me looking over to see what's what again is a coal bunker, what again is one of the coaling chutes or escape trunks, as they called it. And then I think I may paint accordingly first. Apparently not. Apparently I just go straight to mixing up my coal mixture and then packing it in where I think it's going to... Oh, no, I actually painted on. Okay. I used a worn-out brush to do this. Yeah, you'll see I use a couple of methods. Can't seem to make up my mind which way I want to apply my surrogate coal using ballast. But again, both ways have their merits. If you do it with the goop way, you can kind of mold that a little bit more and do it in bigger chunks. It may be less effort, but the other way you can get finer detail because you're layering it onto glue that you've already painted in place. And I'm getting about almost to the point where I'm going to want to cut this audio recording because I'm going to hit a part where I start talking. And yep, looks like I glued in some areas and sprinkled some more, and now I'm sprinkling in areas for with a lighter mixture of the PVA glue. And I'm doing that so that the next layers of the ballast will actually stick to the ones below them, because I use the full thickness first just to make sure that I have a good base to stick ballast to. All right. That was quite a bit of modeling. Well, maybe for me, not so much for you. But yeah, so I think I got this the second deck in there most of the way done, so I find that some pleasing progress. But there is a little thing that I'm still curious about. Well, first I'm going to have to add some more walls in these little sections, those little teeth pieces, because it seems to me that those are actually, if I look at this, number 9, engineer stores, or some kind of storage space. I'm not sure how they were going to get up to them on, being over that boiler, but maybe they had catwalks or something, which would be pretty cool. So, other than that, I'm going to have to think of what to put in these fan chambers or anything. And not to mention what things are going to be my actual coal trunks and what things are going to be my actual coal bunkers in these really thin, narrow sections here. But for the most part, that's getting close to good too. But now I see something I found interesting. So, let's see if I can't take this. So, number 7 there says watertight compartment and patent fuel stowage. You see it there? Yeah. Says it for both things. Both levels are shown. And would you look at that, the number 7 is pretty clearly present on the next level down too. So I have to wonder, at this point, there's a little thing though to be really hard to show with a camera. Besides the door symbols, which you might have seen in that upper floor, there's ladders. So now I gotta ask the question, what is patent fuel? I have to look that up now. Maybe it's just some different grade of coal, or maybe it's actually stored in some kind of, I don't know. What is it, like barrels or something? Oh well, either way, I'm going to get cracking at that. And that's embedded into this video. Alright. Okay, so here we are, different camera angle this time. And I get right back to doing a little bit of fitting of pieces and moving them around, and then a bit of hemming and hawing before I start to think I do some more painting, or I do some more placement of where the coal goes. And I think I just refer to the plans again, make sure everything's going right. Yep, and looks like, yep, now I'm removing some of the excess ballast that's being the stand-in for coal. And a bit more carving up and making sure that's all fitting. And then cleaning out my super glue applicator as well. Which, it's not like it's a bad tool. It's a good tool. It does reasonably well. I'm just not sure if it was the right tool for my needs. Maybe, it's just the stuff I'm working on is just so damn small. But I guess there's always, trying to find a different tool and see if it works better. But in the meantime, so as you saw, I took the approach again of thinning out some Elmer's glue, which is called PVA glue, I guess. And then, putting that thinned mixture onto the ballast I've already laid down, and then piling more into those cavities. Before eventually, what I'll start doing is when I've got them nice and reasonably full, I'll start putting black paint on to make them start looking like coal. So there I go, adding more to these areas here. And I think this is with me filling in the patent field bunkers. So I mention it later in this film, I'll just mention it here quick, is that it actually was a different type of coal. It was like essentially charcoal briquettes. It was like really powdered coal with a binding agent, I think, if I remember how that thing read. So that little shake there is me just restarting the camera from what I can think. Because again, this camera will stop at about every 18 minutes of filming, give or take. So I guess there's only so much they can do with the small electronics in that camera, but it's still annoying. We're moving right along. So yeah, we've got the... Yep, there we go. Now I got the black paint mixed. And I mixed it a little thinner than I might normally, so it'll get into all the little nooks and crannies of these fake coal bunkers that I've done. So I had an opportunity, speaking of the fake coal bunkers, to look at actual, railway, model railway coal, like, the kind you lay on for scenery. This is at a hobby shop near me, and what I found was that it was too big. So it looks like this is the right way for me to do it all along, at least in this scale. Higher scale, maybe I'll be able to get away with it, but I have no idea of whether the Bismarck, when I do it, was coal-fired or if it was, used like fuel oil boilers. But I'm sure that when I get, the anatomy for it book and all that, I'll find out. Yeah, so there I am now trying to super glue some other stuff in. Yeah, I don't think I'm super gluing in the walls here. I think what I'm doing now is I think I'm trying to super glue in the boxes. That's what I'm trying to do there. That might be what I'm doing, that or I'm doing something else. And it's just too far away for me to be able to really see. There we go. So looks like I tried now with the. So that looks like what I was doing is I was putting in boxes. So, yeah. So there we go. Do some more painting. Set the camera up again. I think I'm painting in some of the boxes themselves now in that storage area. And now I'm again looking at the plans. I do a lot of that. I look back and forth between the plans, what I'm working on, the plans I'm working on, just to make sure, my head's in the right place and I'm doing, kind of the right things, or at least things that make sense. So there we are. Looks like I'm putting in a bit more of something there. It looks like I'm just painting over some things that were there and now aren't. Look at plans, look at the boat, look at how things fit in together. So yep, this looks like, and I guess I'm back to the we're doing the coal bunkers now. All right, looks like I've still got some of the. Looks like I had a bit of the whatchamacallit, the ballast that I mixed with the glue as well in some places. And the disadvantage of this is it doesn't quite conform to all the nooks and crannies of the thing you're laying it into. But the plus side is that you can kind of cajole it to fit in very quickly into an area, which can be its own good thing. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm probably going to do that at the bottom areas where there's patent fuel as well. And that's what I'm doing there, and I guess I may also be adding a bit of glue in some strategic points with that old paintbrush again. Now making more of that chromaty color to update some areas where the floor is. And you may even see me doing a bit more of that here with some more of the floor chromate color. Filling in little bits and making sure that things are painted appropriately, or at least reasonably. Cleaning off some of that palette, and once again putting some various bits of paint in places before correcting or adding more, paint. This might be the, I think that was a little coat of the, again, it's a dark silver. Before I go on, start adding some chromate to various areas in the floor, I guess. Again, the curse of doing these voiceovers when it's not fresh in my mind is I kind of have to guess what I was doing at the time. Forgive me, I have 3 kids. They run around. I get tired. What can I say? Enough of that, though. So it looks like I was painting in those engineering stores on that kind of top engine room level, if you will. And then finding out where things will go. Yep. And now I am cutting up boxes. So I make a group of boxes in this so that I can put them into those storage compartments when I'm done. And the reason I do it like that with the plastic card is just to make it easy for me to make them. So I just cut some pieces. This is the 0.08 by 0.020 plastic strip, and I'm holding it together with the Tamiya glue and using the various implements, but namely it seems the needle nose tweezers and one of the paintbrush back ends to push everything together. So, yep, cutting more. And after I cut these out, I'm going to paint them with one of the brown colors. And I don't remember what the color was. I just know that it was brown. It looked kind of like it fit the part of wood boxes to me. So there we go. Putting them all together. I originally had 8 of these and I painted them all. And then when putting something else together, or something, I got distracted. And so I only had like 5 or something like that I eventually laid in there. Maybe more, maybe less, or I just made more. That's probably what I did. So there we go. I'm just moving them now, painting them that brown. I mean, I guess it would have been better if I had primed them beforehand, because then paint would stick better. Problem is, they would have been in the position where I planned on using them, just because otherwise, I mean, priming something that small, you're going to blow it all over the desk unless you secured it to something. Actually, I just had a good thought of something I could totally secure it to. I might want to look and see how much that'd cost. That's actually a really good idea. Huh. All right. If I do it, I'll tell you what it is. All right. So, let's back up to get a little more of me in the shot here. So, yeah, that bit of time lapse had quite a bit of painting again. Little tiny details now. But, And I mentioned something about some of these things and patent feel, and then you went and saw me fill these things with the thing for coal. Figured to give you the explanation behind that. So apparently, all that this patent fuel was it really was a type of coal. The little thing I read said it was essentially coal dust that was compressed and mixed with some kind of binder. So I figured, well, that'll probably look like charcoal briquettes, which looks like coal, so at this scale, they're the same thing. They are ballast painted black. So, hey, that makes my life easier, so I'm all for it. Also, what you saw me do is make these little boxes here. See if I can't really, that should get them in the shot real quick. Yeah, really tiny because I gotta fill those storerooms somehow. Before I go up, before I think of what else to put in there, and before I'm able to really address what do I put inside the fan chambers. Not sure if I'll make other boxes to act as stand-ins and maybe paint those green or something to contrast with the silver. I don't know, I'll have to think about it. But, yeah, so that's about that. Alright, now the question for myself is, do I end the video here, or do I soldier on and add a bit more to it? Oh, well, I think I could do a little more. Alright, so I'll add another slow motion section, probably me adding those boxes and such. And then we'll cap off, I guess, with a bit of a look at what's going on so far. Alright. Let's keep going. Alrighty. And so here I'm just stacking some of the model bits back into the ship. And so I remember mentioning something in some of these voiceovers of a new approach to the chromate paint. And I was looking for something that to my eyes looked reasonably close to some of this, chromate I was aiming for. And what I found was eventually a Dreams Workshop calls that a Castellan green. Now the hilarity is I actually had this paint, so let that be a lesson to organize your paints well, kids. And there's some of that, and I was deciding to decant it into a bottle to, better be able to use it. That's a Vallejo bottle. I wanted the Vallejo paint itself to use, but I guess I'll have to deal with just using one of their bottles for now. So there we go. Me looking around, I think I dropped a piece or something, or I was looking for some of those boxes that I had made the other day. And then upon not having them, I just stack them in different rooms, the ones that I have left. And, yep, I'm using the solvent-based glue because it quite merrily does melt through the paint, so that is helpful to me at least. And then here I either decide to add another person somewhere, or I start making more boxes. Nope, I don't make more boxes. I guess I make more of a set of pieces that I'm going to paint to look like wood and put in one of the remaining storage rooms. Because they would have had wood to do some repairs as well as steel to do some repairs. So at least I assume they would have had these things. It's not like I went to a battleship and did a tour of it or anything like that. I couldn't do it for the Dreadnought even if I wanted to, because it was scrapped in like 1920 or something like that. So there we go. Now I think is a bunch of my attempts to make a guy sit somewhere. This first one might be successful. I think this is the guy that goes into the powder bins, reaching into one of the bins to get something, if you were. And I actually managed to add a little more decoration to his uniform, just really taking my time. As well as accepting the fact that some of the color is going to go where I don't want it. So I'm going to want to leverage the tendency of the color to do that and correct for where it, exceeds where it should go later, just to make my life easier. There I go. Trying to get some glue in the right place to put the guy in. I think the first time I put him in, it doesn't quite go right. So then I had to do it a second time, and it got right this second time. So I figured I'd make him kind of not like the lowliest of crewmen, but maybe like a cut above. I think those guys had white trim, the ones that were like, they weren't like high up like enlisted officers or commissioned officers, but they would like better guys that had been around a time or two, I guess, something like that. I'm not sure what those guys were called. And there I am. I think there's me just adding some little details to his uniform with white stripes, which is what appeared when I saw a uniform. From what I saw of a site that said it was, had uniforms of that period just as, illustrations. So there I am looking at the small scale, and all right. Here's my solution to the problem of the feed water tanks. So my original thought, and I think I mentioned this at the end of the video, was I was going to try to add clear resin and then tint it blue. Problem is, I'd have to seal this thing off, make sure that resin couldn't go anywhere, and then I'd have such damn small quantities, I'd need some specialized equipment. So I grew a brain, and I said, no, we can just put green stuff, make it look like it's got waves on the top of it, paint it blue, and give it, like mini crests, and that's going to look exactly like water at this scale. Granted, it's not the, most realistic water, which would be that clear resin kind of thing. But on the plus side, it doesn't, it's not going to leak all over the model of the table and ruin a large amount of work either and make me just curse and swear. So that's what I'm doing there. And now for what I'm going to try for the solution to those fan chambers is I rolled this into kind of a cylinder, put it aside, and I'm going to see if I can't line those up in a couple places in the fan chambers to act like they're the fans. I think I was listening to videos on YouTube at the time of this. Oh yeah, I might have been looking here as well at the model sprue to see if there wasn't a section of it that looked circular and appropriate size for myself to use instead. I don't think I found anything. So at this point, I think I'm wondering of how can I add more life to this top deck. And I decided to put an officer or somebody waiting at the elevator, and I miss a few pieces. So yeah, this happens to me a lot at this scale, is either glue gets somewhere or something just falls on the floor and disappears forevermore. It's happened at, larger scales too, but that is my least favorite thing about photo etch, is that it disappears on you. It'll patink right out of your lovely little tweezers, and then you will end up having a bad day. Or they'll fall out of your tweezers into the super glue that you're trying to put onto a part of it, and that's what happened a couple of times with these tweezers until I got them cleaned off and was able to then eventually get this guy to stay in one place. I think this is a guy that the super glue didn't lay in right. I had to clean him off, try once or twice. Eventually I grew a brain, used the right tool for the job, laid him on, and then I used my breath to, because water will activate super glue faster, so I just used the condensation in my breath to, warm him, get the glue to go a little faster. And then I am painting him black, and then I'm going to rim some of his, stuff with gold to make him a senior officer. So, and I've already mentioned, some of the little bits of fun and interesting trickery I had to do. Alright, so it is almost the end of this slow motion segment. I hope you enjoyed the film, and I'll add in my little like, share, subscribe, hooray here. And then we can go ahead and see how I actually end this video. And a few more seconds of me awkwardly rambling. Ramble, and here we go. Alright, so now I think I'll end Dreadnought Part 9. So I've done quite a little bit here. Besides getting these all in, finishing that off for this episode. I put some green stuff, these two things, because they're feed water tanks. And I didn't have any good idea on how to make it look like there was actual water in there. My initial thought was to take one of those, resin things for making the river for, model railroads and stuff. But then I realized I'd have to seal up the sides of this thing. I'd have to do all sorts of fixturing. And I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm just not going to do that. So I figured instead I'll take the green putty, stuff putty, mix it up, put it in the areas of the feed water would be, and then just paint that blue to kind of give the indication, hey, this is liquid water. And I think I'll do similar for what's in the bottom of the boat for things like the fuel oil, or the feed water the freshwater tanks that were down there, that kind of thing. But yeah, so there's that. Other than that, so I've also finished off these storage areas up here that look like they're holding stuff now. And I've even got some ideas on what to do to add some more piping and stuff. But overall, that's it. Now, I believe it was Andrew who asked for a kind of overview so far. I can't really give much of a preview because this is what I'm doing at the... what I'm doing as I'm going. So, at the time of this video getting out to YouTube, this isn't, more done than this, really. Unless, I don't know, time warps or something. But here is the overall. I'll zoom out so we can see them in all their glory so far. All the decks I've got. There's that, goody goody. And here's the boat and here's the decks. So I think this puts it the best way possible. So that's reasonably well painted. Just got to paint over a bit more. Give it the water effects, as I said. And doing them up side by side, I have to say, the details on this set over here, the color, everything, I feel better about it. I mean, yeah, I feel definitely better about this. I may add more details over here or just discard this whole thing. This is cool. Yeah, it's neither here nor there, though. Okay, did I miss a room or something? Or ah, wait, hold up. I think here we are. There's my problem. That goes there. That goes there. Silly me. I was wondering about this. What's going on here? There we go. Okay. So now I've got these three. Now the remaining two. Here we go. So there's that. There's that. All right. So far, whole thing. Yeah, this camera there looks like that. And these kind of stack in. These stack into that compartment. These stack into that compartment. And it'll be the same kind of setup down here and down here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I cover up one of that very tippy forward one, that's 5 more to do. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4 after this one. So yeah, got my work cut out for me there. But the good news is now that all the drama of moving house is over, it ought to go by a little faster. Maybe get a little more progress. But we shall see. Every one of these compartments is going to have its little bits of difficulty, and there may be at some points I just decide to blow out a wall to make my life a little easier. Maybe blow out 2 walls, make my life even easier. But that's neither here nor there thing. That I'd have to think about quite a bit, probably off camera. But until then, well, I'm Rich, and this is the end of Dreadnought Part 9 Redux, and I will see you next time. Peace out.